Hey people, welcome back for another episode of the Jagged Edge. This is Ian here along with Chris.
Ahoy, everybody.
What's going on? Just coming off the heels of a Dark Tower review. Got out to see that this weekend. Definitely enjoyed it. Especially if you like gunslinging. And coolest part of all, it tells its story in pretty good brevity. You're not going to be sitting here 2.5 hours or 3+ hours. So,
Nope. It's only 10 minutes long. It's short. It's on the internet already.
If it was that short, it was going to end up in the same vein as that Sheep movie that's coming out. But that's another story.
What Sheep movie?
Yeah, it was the end of my info minute last week, saying the
that's right,
documentary. Yeah. Oh well.
That's a great Sheep movie.
But this is not that. We're still rolling pretty strong with the block of summer action films. It's definitely fits in that vein. If you're a fan or not, Chris and I, neither of us had read the books, but definitely still enjoyed this one. Dropping in.
Not a lot of context behind our review of at least what's behind this movie, which, by the way, they apparently spent 10 years or so making.
Wow. It's 10 years?
You can't tell.
Because it had I think we were saying the budget was like $60 million, I think.
It's obviously a lot of time writing.
Oh yeah. And then
it's good.
It is. So live it right, get out there and enjoy it.
Ooh, I'm gonna segue.
This is open for you.
Yeah, speaking of writing, that's the best segue ever. I think the biggest news this week is that Star Wars Episode 9 is being rewritten.
Now, we thought this was only a DC phenomena.
No. They're just really bad at it. Okay, so let's see. So, recently Lucasfilm has brought in British writer Jack Thorne to some extent either completely rewrite or partially rewrite or just polish up the script for Star Wars Episode 9, which has been written by director, where's his name, Colin Trevorrow, and with help from Derek Connolly. Also, I believe that was the notes to some extent were given from Ryan Johnson, who was the writer and director for Episode 8. But they're bringing someone else in. They're saying, hey, we want someone else to do this. Interesting, really interesting. Especially, I just kind of assume from everything I'm hearing, the buzz I am hearing about what Ryan Johnson has done with Episode 8, I'm a little surprised that he did not have more of a hands-on role on this. But they're bringing someone in who actually kind of funny that none of these people really have a lot of history in these type of movies. But yeah, bringing in. Now, what do you know about Jack Thorne? What do you know about the writer? And you are shut up. you are the expert in all things British.
Believe it or not, I have not followed any of Thorne's text. I really can't cite a specific work or anything like that. I mean, there's only so many Commonwealth authors that I keep track of, like V.S. Naipaul and a few others, but I think they're writing in completely different veins. I really don't have a comparison to base against, but I do know that the Star Wars crew is killing it. I love the direction that they've taken with what we've seen so far in Rogue One and also the newest episode, and I trust it.
Sure. I'm in. Yeah, why not?
Let's do it.
Well, like I said, I was surprised that Ryan Johnson doesn't have more of a role as far as the writing. I know they'd said that he'd passed on some notes. He hadn't done a full treatment for Episode 9, but he passed on a lot of notes as far as, and it's been brought out at this point that they really weren't sure where they were going to go with after Episode 7. So Ryan Johnson has really been the one who was kind of plotting the path here for the rest of the trilogy. I guess we probably won't know for a while how much his notes were actually followed, if they were followed, or if they were thrown away. But from what I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing for Episode 8, he's really plotting the path here, and he's really shaking some things up. So I don't, it always kind of, as a Star Wars fan, when we're used to, this is the vision of George Lucas, good or bad,
right?
This is going to be, canonically, this is going to be the way that it should be. to hear something like Star Wars get passed off like this, as much as it has been, it's a little jarring for me. At the same time, I mean, they did a lot of this for Rogue One as well, and I guess like not the whole third act, but most of the third act was completely different initially. Most of which actually got shot too. So I mean, but that being said, Rogue One I think is a good movie. It's very different from your other Star Wars movies, which some people didn't like, but a lot of people love it. I happen to be in the camp of I loved it.
Same.
I know, and you just saw it last week. So for the first time, no, but which isn't too far from the truth. What, that was in June, right? You watched it.
What was it? I think that's right.
Anyway, no, but that's all right. You saw it though. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I know they were going to do some rewriting because of Carrie Fisher obviously passing away,
right.
And they have to change things with that. I guess there's a lot of unknown here.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna side on I'll trust it. I guess one of the things that comes with this though is that Jack Thorne did a Harry Potter story. What is it, Lost Child or something like that? Do you know about Harry Potter?
No. Well, I mean, of course. Well, how can I not? In a way, I mean, unless you think you've had your head under the sand about J.K. Rowling and what the series has done. I could tell you about some highlight characters, a bit about Dumbledore and all the rest of that, but don't ask me, deep plot questions.
The Cursed Child, I guess, but I guess a lot of people didn't like it, so I don't know. I guess we'll see. We've already had the prequel, so we're kind of already prone to really dry dialogue and bad writing from time to time. And Star Wars will love it, but I think it'll definitely be emphasized if Episode 8 is awesome and Episode 9 is not.
Oh yeah,
that's.
But at least they're keeping in line with what I've heard. There's and I think this was also featured in the most recent sort of like behind the scenes trailer. Also been written about that they're looking to surprise with this film with some of the direction it goes. It's by no means going to be tame. There's some people that have said it's just going to be an Empire Strikes Back redux, but I don't think so. I'm really interested to see what they're fashioning here, and I've really been pulled into the other two, and man, let's keep rocking.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not worried about Episode 8 anymore. I used to be a little bit worried about it, but I'm not. It definitely doesn't look like it's going to be a rehash of Empire Strikes Back. So
no.
But yeah, interesting stuff. A lot of shakeups there.
Cool.
Now that movie is going to be out in 2 years.
2019?
2019 for Episode 9. We're going to get Han Solo in between.
Cool.
Which, hopefully is okay.
Well.
But there's that.
And then the other thing that's going to be between in 2018, next to the Han Solo movie, is the Bumblebee spinoff.
Oh boy.
And if that wasn't enough, Aqua-Man, I believe that's coming out on the same day.
Yeah, it was reported this week that the Bumblebee spinoff is going to come out to the same day as Aqua-Man. You can
yeah, I can hear it. I can hear it.
Enthusiasm. Look, I mean, we've talked about it before. I'm not a big fan of Aquaman. I'm holding out judgment for this version of Aquaman because he looks okay. He looks a bit too cliche for me. He's like, I have long hair and they're drinking, whatever. Bumblebee, I am not looking for at all. Now, if you're not excited for Bumblebee, and if you're not as excited as I am, because I'm sure you can tell I'm very excited about it, then here's what I have to tell you. The Bumblebee movie is going to be a prequel period piece in 1987 starring John Cena.
Oh my
and if
gosh.
that doesn't get you excited, then you just need to check yourself in somewhere because that's the best shit ever. Here, look, I get it. I'm old. I'm definitely a lot older. And actually, Transformers, which I grew up with and I love dearly, makes me feel a lot older. because I am definitely not the demographic for these movies anymore. Maybe when the first one came out, but definitely the last few, and this one, yeah,
not feeling that last night.
I am so going to see Aquaman.
Hey, like we said, we already talked about man. I was already interested, but Dolph Lundgren. I mean, come on, dude. Drago's gonna be in it. How can you not go see it?
I was on the fence with it, actually, because I'm not a big Aquaman person, but I will now definitely go to see Aquaman to take money away from the Bumblebee spinoff.
Yeah.
Because, we didn't see Transformers last night, and it has tanked. Worldwide, it has only made a gross of, I think, somewhere around 130 million, something like that, which in comparison for all the previous ones is nothing less than shit. And finally, the studio is getting worried about what Michael Bay's been doing with these things, which unfortunately we were, as well as a production studio should. They're looking at the votes by the dollars instead of what people are saying, but now they're starting to see that it's affecting both. They're now starting to get worried about this Transformer franchise. I'm hearing rumblings that they may not even make the sixth movie. They're going to try to shoot some adrenaline into this with the Bumblebee spinoff. Here's what I need. Here's what I need to get me interested. Give me something. Give me something in this spinoff to make me interested. And by that, I mean make Bumblebee, especially in 1987, make him a bug. Make him a Volkswagen bug. I mean, you're not a huge Transformers guy, but I mean, that's what he was. That's in his G1 incarnation, and in most incarnations, he was some kind of small Volkswagen bug or small car. That's such. Make him a bug. If he's not a bug, I'm not even gonna go see it. If you are going to take the Transformers into 1987 and do a period piece like that and not honor the shit out of what they did in the 80s, I have nothing for you.
Fair enough.
Am I wrong for that?
No, I mean those roots are roots, man. I mean, I'm all for coming up with an inventive angle or taking a new spin on something that's been tried or slightly different trope. But look, you can only go so far from the source without creating a new source.
I even saw in the ads for the latest movie what Bumblebee can come apart now and take off his head and fall apart and he's fine and stuff like that and put himself back together. To even say that there's canonical context to these movies is ridiculous. Now, Megatron just comes back. There's no explanation about the fact that he was Galvatron in the prior movie and died in the movie before that. There's no context. He's just Megatron and he's back. They're not even trying. Not to mention the fact that Bumblebee, who apparently can fall apart and put himself back together, lost his legs in the first movie, and that was kind of a big deal. Not to mention the fact that at the end of that movie he could talk, and then he never talked again, and they make a big deal out of it. So why are you even doing a prequel?
Because recognition. Because B. I mean, John Cena, Bumblebee. I mean, instant success, right?
Yeah.
No.
So I'm gonna go see Aquaman.
No.
Especially because there's not a Star Wars movie next Christmas in Christmas 2018. There's not even a Star Wars movie coming out. Han Solo's coming out in the summer.
Right. So you got the time to anyway. I mean, this is part of the whole, the rest of the DC exploration we have going on. And besides, wasn't Shazam somewhere around there?
Oh, Shazam! Yeah, there's some stuff about Shazam too. Look at that. Now that was a smooth segue.
I try.
No, that's 2019. But there was some news that came out today, or not today, but this week. That director David Sandberg has said that Shazam is going to be a departure from all the previous DCU movies. It's going to be fun and lighthearted. Okay. Wait, so I know and care even less about Shazam than I do Aquaman. What do you know? What do you know about Shazam?
Only what I saw of the character in Infinite Crisis. But before I jump into that, I have one quick question because I think you might have more foresight in this than me. Is Dwayne Johnson still slotted for that role?
No, he's slotted to play Black Adam, who I believe is his arch
Okay.
rival. Is he still going to be in this movie? Last I heard, they were going to have Shazam, and they're going to have a Black Adam movie, but The Rock was going to be in both. But now I'm hearing that he's actually only going to be Black Adam, and they've been trying to make a Shazam movie even before the DCEU started. But now they'd even said at one point, well, we're going to have DCEU, but the Shazam movie is not going to be a part of it, and that's not the case anymore. So this is Warner Brothers showing you how much they've got all this stuff together.
It's weird. I actually found out about Shazam through Black Adam, and I don't know. It's probably why I tend to accidentally associate the two so closely. But not a whole lot. I never got into much of his presence in the comics, like I said, besides in some of the stuff that occurred within Infinite Crisis that featured everybody. Black Adam, chipped in a bit there.
Shazam is. There's been different versions. The main versions that I've seen is that he is either a kid or a group of kids, which is really weird. Who together or just the one kid form Shazam, a giant adult man with Superman-like powers, but still has the brain of the tween, or not even as old as the tween, that puts him together.
Captain Planet much?
Very weird. Not even Captain Planet's not even some kind of weird morphine into an adult. That's kind of like a summons or something, isn't it? Or the powers of the rings coming out. Yeah, it
is.
I've never been able to get into Shazam just for the fact that the character is not a character. It's something. Yeah, I've never really been able to get into Shazam. I don't really have much more to say about that. I thought it was just interesting that the departure that they're taking on this. Which I guess, how are you going to make a super dark movie about a kid who has these powers?
Right.
I guess so, but it's going to be part of the DCEU. But they're saying, hey, we're definitely taking a left turn on this one.
Which I mean, just based off the context, I'm trying to think how that's going to fit into everything on a larger scale. When I think of Flash, when I think of Wonder Woman, when I think of Supes, Batman, and then you have an origin like this. Now,
what they should do?
The more, real quick, the more lighthearted origins, and I'm almost wondering, the question is, do you go an Ant-Man style direction with this?
I don't know. This almost feels like a Nickelodeon movie. No, you know what they should do though? They should have Bumblebee and Aquaman show up, and they should fight it out in Shazam's movie. Right there. Shazam and Aquaman should just team up and beat up Bumblebee. In 1987.
With John Cena.
Yes.
Don't forget that.
With John Cena, he should be like, hey, Bumblebee is my buddy, but these guys have got a point. He kind of sucks. And just turn on him.
No.
What can I say, folks? We don't make the news. We just comment on what came out this week, and this week's kind of a
little dry. I mean, I think we're again still post Comic-Con drought. Even then, I think we're still seeing some of the fallout from that. We're just now starting to get a lot of the trailers and some of the stuff that was discussed. In fact, I didn't see it yet. I'm still waiting to see that Avengers footage. That was released there.
Well, we saw really crappy.
The crappy version. Right. I'm just wondering if when, if ever, we'll get that next HD clip.
I don't want to see it. You know why? I heard that you would get to actually see Ant-Man die in it.
Oh,
I don't like that.
No.
Well, and everyone's going to die. We've been saying that forever.
Right.
But I don't. Come on. Ant-Man's awesome.
Right.
More Ant-Man.
Yeah, it's not like we're rushing towards that. Oh well.
We haven't had nearly enough Ant-Man.
No.
He's only been in 2 MCU movies.
Man, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Well,
so maybe they can put Aqua-Man in there.
Yeah.
How awesome would that be, though, if, like, watching Civil War, just some outtake or something, and instead of the lineup that you see, like, Iron Man's side and Captain America's side, you go through and, like, they're showing the lineup of the characters, and there's Aquaman. And everyone just look at him, he's like, nah, let's drink a beer.
I mean, at that point, we could go back to the 90s when you had that weird DC versus Marvel crossover where you had, like, Bat Wolverine,
the Bat Wolverine.
Yeah, Bat Wolverine, Spider Boy. What was it? There was the Captain America, and no, there were two. There were two things with Batman because there was the alternative because you had like a parallel universe too. There was the Bat Wolverine, but also there was the weird Captain America and Batman thing. I think Captain America and Batman fought. That was it.
I remember Batterine.
Yeah, Batterine.
Wolverman.
Yeah, it was so.
That was horrible. That's the 90s.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever seen someone cross over weird like that. If we ever see it today in live action, who knows? I highly doubt it in this landscape. But
no. There's that people. Yeah, you can't mix them. Someday, I bet you at some point, someday, we will get a crossover movie, and none of the actors that are playing these roles right now will play in those. Maybe maybe Robert Downey Jr. 15 years from now, and he's got gray hair and stuff, and he just shouldn't even be in the Iron Man suit. But whatever. That guy's really old now, right?
How old is I
think he's 60.
What?
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. You say some stuff for a minute.
Robert Downey. I look at his roles, and he tends to still be kind of spot on whatever he fills. Like I loved him in Sherlock Holmes as well.
I'm off. I actually feel bad. No, he's 52.
Okay, yeah, man, aging the guy too quick. I was about to say, he really fits whatever he plays, not just age-wise, but character-wise. He sort of becomes that character. Like, I have a hard time seeing him outside of Tony Stark now in the same way that I thought he just, hit Sherlock Holmes just bang on. I mean, and we see multiple interpretations of that, especially the TV series. And I'm so bad with his name. It's the same fellow who played Khan in the new Star Trek film.
Jesus.
Yep,
we're both doing it. He played
Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, same deal. He was Strange too. Yep. But even still, I thought Downey had
Benjamin Cumberbatch, I believe.
There you go. Bring it, Cumberbatch. But same deal. Downey just brings just an amazing flavor, genuineness to whatever he has. So I can't wait to see Marvel Universe after all of this. We're gonna hit a major shakeup, of course, after Avengers 3.
And we talk about that a lot too. But have you kept up at all with because currently in the comics, Iron Man's kind of dead. He's he's dead. He's not completely dead.
What happened?
You know how comics work. Oh, it's from Civil War 2. Yeah, Captain Marvel beat the ever living piss out of him. He's in a comatose state. He's an AI. He downloads his entire conscious into an AI, which is being run by Riri Williams, and that's what I'm leading to. Do you know anything about Riri Williams?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you're not following this. So she's kind of like as smart as he is and stuff. And she's built her own suit, which now he has helped as an AI. He has helped her kind of mold that into the new Iron Man suit, which she's called Ironheart. And of course, everyone's pissed off about it. But it's actually a really good comic. But they're going to start bringing all these heroes back that they've been killing off and stuff because sales suck now. He took out all the people that they've been following for 40, 50 years, except for Spider-Man. But so they're going to bring him back. But Riri Williams is actually really cool. You get a lot of people upset. It's like, oh, why you got to be all PC and make my Iron Man a woman and make her black and blah It's so, and everyone's like, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are like, well, how come she's called Ironheart and not Iron Maiden?
Mm.
I mean, I get the cliche that, from the 80s of the Iron Maiden, like the band, the heavy metal band, the barely popular heavy metal band from the 80s and 90s. Yeah, sniffle there at the end too.
I heard the tear being shed.
No, but I actually like Riri Williams, and if this is, and because inevitably Robert Downey Jr. is 3 years away from getting his AARP card, and he's getting older, and he's saying that at some point here sooner than later he would like to stop. I would hope that they bring her in.
Fair enough.
You should check that out.
No, I should. I mean, this sort of reminds me something along continuity of what happened with Thor when he was deemed unworthy of Mjolnir, and we had a different female Thor take over. These side arcs to so many of the main heroes we know. There was the whole hubbub about Spider-Man. Doc Ock filling that role. Oh my gosh, bloody murder.
They're still playing off that storyline though. But yeah, that went around for a couple years. You had the Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah. So good stuff. Plenty of good stuff cranking tomorrow.
Yeah. So how did we get here from Shazam?
Oh, we were Comic-Con, and we were going for Comic-Con Fallout. And another thing. Oh. If we're staying on the lines of stuff that has come out since details, that's in the gaming section. Parlaying that, I'm looking at Injustice 2, especially. There was some footage shown at Comic-Con of Starfire, and some more of the gameplay and her release. Again, I'm still fresh off the Evo hype. I've been watching highlights all week because there were still a few tournaments I missed. Evo snuck up on me. I'll be honest. I was expecting it a week later than when it actually landed, so I missed the Blaze Blue Grand Finals as well as a few others. But I caught some of MK, caught Street Fighter, everything else I could. I missed Injustice. It was just a few weeks ago. Wow, I never even knew. Normally, you disappear for Evo. I do, and that's why I didn't. Had I known, you would have had issues having me around on Saturday, sir. All right. But no, we're just now coming off of Evo. It ended July 16th. It was that weekend. But Injustice, and MK, these have been big on the scene. Played a ton. I think I don't know what character won that, but no, I was checking out some of the gameplay for Starfire, and again, I don't own Injustice. I have played it though. I got a lot of friends that are into it. She, at least the way she comes off is. I could be wrong. It seems to be a really strong zoning character. You have a lot of good spacers, good projectiles, really quick movement, and everything like that. And so there's a pretty fun HD teaser out there for that. I always thought, Chris, especially with your background in MK, that Injustice would be a natural translation for you. You'd be all over that. Well, and I was thinking, I know we did the game preview for 2017, and I was really thinking I was going to grab Injustice. I have not yet. I did see some Starfire footage. I'm looking at some right now. More importantly, I saw the Sub-Zero footage, but I'm just not there with games right now. I'm just not there. And I don't casually play a fighting game. I'm either there or I'm not. So no, Starfire is okay. I mean, I'm watching some footage here. It looks fun. Yeah. Cool. And righteous way to be. I mean, I'm the same way. I couldn't go to an event like this or, really get into something and sort of be passe about it. It's something I jump in both feet. Besides that, there's a part of the gaming news that did not come out of Comic-Con was with Ubisoft for first-person shooters. Now, I've been away from the FPS genre for a while. My longest stint into that was during the days of Unreal Tournament. I adored that game. Agreed. That hit. What? I said agreed. Yeah, agreed. Right. It was just, man, even though I was a 56K noob then, incredible game. I think I picked up the PS2 version too. But Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six, games like that, they've been going strong for years. They have a very, very dedicated following, dedicated community to that, and really their own subset of esports and tournament structure that are still continuing to thrive. But I was taking a look at this week, and I think sometimes I don't emphasize or focus on how well it's doing. There's an announcement that Rainbow Six Siege, so the latest one coming out for the series, has surged to 20 million players. Hit a major milestone, which is just really wild. And that's not just, hey, we hit 20 million spike once. It's there's consistently like millions of players logging in. I think the newest initiative coming out for this one's called like Operation Health. Said this was an initiative started by a development team to go over a series of fixes and upgrades with the goal of improving Rainbow Six Siege overall. I never got into the genre hardcore. I've known some people who competed in Counter-Strike competitively, but this is a scene that I tend to take my eye off a lot. But every time I look back over it, it shows no signs of slowing down or dying. I guess Halo and other console games like that, I think, are a subset of this. It's just a slice of it. But the PC section of this is just crazy. Pretty unbelievable.
20 million players for anything is friggin' huge.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, again, some Rainbow Six footage here. And very similar, I don't play a lot of first-person shooters right now. Never been a big Halo fan, but I definitely always like to have a bit of fantasy or sci-fi to my first-person shooters, which obviously this does not have much of. But 20 million is huge. There's no one can take that away. That's great. I'm glad to see that first-person shooters are doing so well. I was a little worried about first-person shooters for a while because they did get really popular, especially with Halo and everything.
Right.
But then it was all console-based, and it's like
which
that's like saying your favorite cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
and that's super important to highlight. That leads to the other thing I wanted to talk about within this. They've managed to keep this so successful and so upright, even without it being just exclusively on PC. I mean, you have the whole PC base, but this is it's being released in PS4 and Xbox One as well. I'd argue. I think there's an argument to be made. The strongest base for it, of course, exists on PC.
The PC has taken back its genre.
It did.
It has taken it back, and much needed and much deserved that it did as well. That's why I got worried about it, because this all seemed like it was starting to go console based. And I tried playing some Halo and some other first person shooters with a controller, and it's just like, this is like trying to drive with my hands behind my back. So I'm really glad to see it go back to its roots, back where it belongs. No, but hey, great, 20 million. I don't follow the military-based first-person shooters too much, and that's obviously a minority for that, which is fine. But I follow it enough to know that the gameplay is intense. It has literally its own competitive sports.
Oh yeah.
Subsection now. So good on it.
Yeah, for sure. So again, the only one I'll probably that I'll hear about most, and this is probably one I'll look at next, is how Overwatch does compared to all of this.
Well, you can't say that, man, because we got it queued up for our first Let's Play for a first-person shooter.
It's true.
Or a first-person. No, that's a shooter.
No, it counts. What I'm saying is I highlight that because Blizzard has been able to generate a huge fan base for that, but it seems to run sort of countercurrent to what I see in Counter-Strike, to what I see in like Rainbow Six. It's like it's sort of evolved into its own subset. I mean, I had a chance when I went to PAX South this past year to sit in on a tournament for it. They were actually having a live Twitch stream that was going on, and it gets intense. Had a great turnout. I mean, they got full-fledged teams for it. People love it, and it's thriving. So we'll see.
And I said it here a few weeks ago. I said it first. Overwatch 2 on the new Atari console.
There you go.
I mean it. That's what they're going to do. That's how they're going to launch it. And it will fail, but that's all right. Got to give it a go.
Man. On the downside, gaming news, there's a pretty sad piece into BioWare. We've spoken about the upcoming Anthem a little bit recently, and how
I didn't see that until you just said it. Now I see the notes. You have Anthem news. I've been waiting for Anthem news.
Yeah, I wish I had more good news about it. Now, I'm gonna preface this by saying I don't think this is much of a too much of a setback for the game itself, because there's already a very strong path for where it's going. But hey, it's still talent lost, which just
what
absolutely sucks.
Spit it out.
I can't. It sucks. We had a developer. We just had a death recently.
Oh.
Yeah,
you can bring in death into the show.
Hey,
death is talked about at the beginning of the show.
That's true. I know you like to get that out of the way, but we're in this run of major companies and major groups, and this just fit. I found this one kind of late. His name is Corey Gasper. The cause of death isn't noted, but this was actually Monday. A press statement was released. It's not getting very personal. It's to the wise. BioWare has issued its statement, giving condolences. But he's a veteran. He'd been with the studio, I think, for close to 10 years or more. Some other credits to his name include Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect 2 and 3, Anthem right now, of course, and Sonic Chronicles.
Wow.
Definitely a vet. That'll be missed. But Anthem itself continues on. Chris and I are both looking at this one with vested interest. We're seeing some shades of, I think, action, FPS, mecha, all the right things. And but no, wishing BioWare the best, of course. All the dev team and that. Things still power on full steam. So.
Well, that's a shame. Yeah, I mean, a company as big as BioWare, that's going to be a setback, but it's probably not going to set things back too much. But it sounds like the guy's a veteran, especially for the Mass Effect. I was not a Mass Effect fan, but I appreciate what it did as far as gaming goes. That was at a time when I just wasn't playing a lot of video games. So, yeah, that's a shame.
And what Mass Effect did, of course, for the sci-fi gaming continuity, like this idea of building upon each game on the epic scale that it did, and regardless of what you think of it, it's cemented a legacy, which is sweet. The last one, there's one other game that's a freaking classic that, if you want to talk legacies, this is the first thing, one of the first games my mind always pops to. That's Wolfenstein. The critical reception of the Wolfenstein reboot we had recently wasn't. I don't think it didn't quite break the same ground as Doom, but it was still received nonetheless. But there was a pretty awesome scene here. I was checking out this week, and there was a dev interview from Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. There's this pretty sweet wheelchair combat scene with BJ. And we're coming right off the heels of the first Wolfenstein reboot. The end of that, it ends kind of obscure. It's not known whether BJ fully survived or whatever else, but we pick up in Wolfenstein 2. He's seen better days. He's battered. He's bruised, but he can still kill Nazis like no other.
In a wheelchair, apparently. I'm watching this right now.
It's crazy. And I'm looking at this, and the one thing that I instantly thought about was, this is really cool. The kind of evolution with scenes we're getting in FPS. It shows that, even when genre we think we've seen everything, that we're starting to bend the way we use the scene rather than how we use the story itself. Most of the time when I look at an FPS, it's like we're breaking down like a sci-fi horror, aka Doom, or we're breaking down more like a realistic scope, Counter-Strike, etc. But here, this is downright cinematic.
Does he not have legs? What's the deal?
There
they are.
Yeah, no, he does. No, it's the extent of his injuries that he took in like the first one, where he's just not able to walk, and like the beginning of the game, he's hardly stumbling out of his room, hospital bed. Hardly makes it in his wheelchair, but gets himself a submachine gun and just starts going to town on Nazis again. And I hear that name, BJ Blazkowicz, and I just smile because I think of id, I think of Doom and Wolfenstein. Of course, Wolfenstein, one of my earliest entries ever into a shooter, and
one of the world's entries for centuries into shooters, for
sure, man. And the wholesale wanton, wipe out what you see. That theme's still there. I don't know why personally. I could never. I didn't revisit Wolfenstein the same way I revisited Doom. I think when the latest Doom came out years later, even Doom 3, I jumped on both of those. Really got into them, but I didn't personally come back to Wolfenstein as much. Respect it, no doubt, but
yeah. Well, Wolfenstein's got a checkered past, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks funny. This looks cool. So, all right, yeah, you get a Wolfenstein wheelchair scene there. That looks neat. I'm not totally sold on this one yet, but it is looking pretty damn good.
Yeah, and again, I think it's still got a ways to go where it completely overhauls itself. Reinvents itself in a way, but promising. We'll see. All this FPS stuff and not another thing about fighting games besides Injustice. You should be proud of me.
Hey, no, I'm proud either way, man. Hey, I back you 100%, except for when you're talking about bikinis.
or Superman 4. That's another story.
Yeah, I can't back you on that one. You almost lost me completely.
Love it. Oh, man. But no, those are the major pieces I had for gaming.
All right. Well, yeah, I think that's it. I think we're ready for an info minute.
In case you didn't know, in Jakarta, specifically, and more in Indonesia as a whole, this was a piece published in BBC News recently that, quote, pigeon racing is being blamed for divorces.
No!
There's...
You cannot... Pigeon racing?
Pigeon racing is a thing. There has been a spike of divorce rates filed. This is with the... excuse me if I'm butcher this pronunciation, the Purbalingga, our religious court in the country's central Java province, says that their office received over 90 petitions for divorce in July alone. A huge increase over...
What? Why? I mean, give me some context here.
Yeah, sure, over June's figures. Reason is, and the way the story focuses is... wives are complaining that their husbands are spending their earned money, their families earn money, the rest of it or whatever winnings they get, putting it back into this gambling system or using it for themselves, and to the point where it's just completely detracting from families. And quote, there are many female workers here where most of the men are unemployed. Most of the husbands end up becoming pilots, and by pilot I mean a pilot not flying a plane but races pigeons. Again,
this is the whole world I didn't know existed. I'm watching videos now.
Gambling on pigeon races, of course, is going to tighten your pocket pretty bad if you already have a strained financial situation already. But it's wild, Pigeon racers, it turns out they can spend anywhere between 5,000 rupees, that's about $78, or 57 pounds on food and grooming their birds prior to a race. That's not including any other fees or whatever odds they're betting against. It's crazy. I didn't even know this was a world either, man.
This is the best world.
There you have it.
So how does this work? How does a pigeon race work?
I mean, so you're not going to keep them in a straight line, of course. I mean, there's no little pins or lanes you aim them in. Apparently, this is a pretty old sport that's just lost its sheen, but is as far as I know, just with the courting of it, they just have the pigeons all come to one site and they launch them off. I mean, I'm not sure if that's judged off of takeoff. I'm not sure if that's judged off of how high or how fast they fly, but they bet on this. It's a thing.
I've yet to see, I'm finding all kinds of footage about people and stuff. I've yet to see an actual pigeon race. I did see them release a bunch of birds at one time, but
it's a thing. It takes me back when I was in London. You almost want to call pigeons an epidemic.
Have you seen pigeon raising in person?
I have not. I've seen people pet pigeons and try to feed them and try to walk around with them and everything. But no, not racing. I didn't even know this existed before this article.
Oh my God.
But so whatever you do, folks, hey, if you have a family, don't race pigeons. If you have bad budget. Just don't do it.
Don't do it. Just don't. What the? This looks stupid. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just seeing a bunch of people sitting around talking about racing pigeons. This looks really bad.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the pigeons, though. That's fine.
Right.
No. What? Don't. Just don't. It's like... I don't have a lot of enthusiasm this week, I guess.
No, well, I mean, a story like this kind of takes it out of you. Took it out of me.
No. Well, between that and the BioWare one, I'm done.
I sank your ship, man.
Jesus. No, this is dumb. Don't do it. Don't pigeon race. It looks really stupid.
Oh, that's all I got.
But so like when you were across the pond, let's say, I mean, you would talk to people. It sounds like you would talk to people who were avid pigeon racers. I mean, what would they say?
I mean, or fans of. Hey, I can even snapshot an example of my aunt. She lived there for a number of years. Her line of work anyway, and she always loved to go sit in Trafalgar Square, and she was big on pigeons. She believed if pigeons sat on her shoulder or something, that it was a sign of good fortune.
So it sounds like you have pigeon racing lineage in your blood.
Somewhere. There's a high likelihood of that.
So you're a pigeon racer is what I'm hearing.
I mean, every other weekend.
I bet.
But you're not supposed to go into that.
Well, I ought to do. That's all right. So pigeon racing looks really stupid. Don't do it. No, but okay. So your aunt like watched the races.
No, it was less of her being involved in races, but more of that she just, she always just kind of liked pigeons, period, and she just believed that, hey, if they're good fortune, if one, lands on her. I don't know where she got that or whatever, but she had one land on her shoulder in Trafalgar Square once, and she'd never been the same since. But that had nothing to do with pigeon racing. I don't even think that's a thing in the UK, man. I mean, I remember, there were, there's like, of course, plenty of dog racing and stuff like that, and like the breeding pedigree competitions.
Yeah, there can be some horrible stuff with that.
But there can. You're right. And then you get some murky areas.
Pigeon racing, dog racing, or cockfighting. Which one? You got to pick one.
If I was to participate in one, if I had to, right?
Yep.
If I just had to, if it's a crazy world, I'll take dog racing. It's an oldie.
All right, I would definitely get into cockfighting. I would have me a champion rooster. I would feed him raw meat. I would show him horrible war videos all day long.
I could see you being a trainer. Your
steroids.
Your rooster would be terrifying. You're taking me back to that episode of Seinfeld where Jerry and Kramer got involved in cockfighting, and then there was that huge rooster they were trying to save their their rooster from.
Yeah, no, South Park did an episode too. I would have a vicious, mean ass rooster. Yeah. I can't do racing though.
No.
I mean, so again, I'm going back to this, and I'm not letting this go yet.
All right, hang on.
Back to this pigeon racing footage, and it's just like from what little actual racing footage I could find, there's dozens of birds in cages, and they lift the gate, and they all fly out, and it looks like they just all go all over the fucking place. So, I mean, do they come back?
No,
because I know pigeons at one time were used for communication. That
right.
Was not common, but it was a well-known form of communication. Tie a little note to a pigeon and send them off. And I don't know how they figured out where they were supposed to go, but they did. I don't know. Just kind of gleaming on this.
I mean, if you invest enough in like bird, I mean, I'd hope. I'd assume they're trained enough too. I mean, that would suck. You just spend all this cash doing this training and preening. All right, new pigeon. Next race.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't think.
So dumb. Don't pigeon race. Don't race sharks either. We learned that one.
Yeah, we saw that worked out. It didn't.
Gimmicks, people, gimmicks. Get over them.
I'm having a ball with these.
All right, is that it for us this week?
I think that's all we got.
Okay. Like and share. Maybe don't base on this week so much, but like and share and stuff.
Got it. Thank you for tuning in. You guys have a good one, and we'll look forward to hearing from you again soon. Thanks.